Hi, I'm Sam Sells, and welcome to my podcast, Clean Money. I like to say investing matters, and my show is to talk with everyday folks that are not only creating great success, but making an impact in society and improving the lives of others. That is my mission, and I want to share my stories and others with you. Welcome to Clean Money. Thank you for joining with us today for another great episode of Clean Money, where we talk about making a difference in the world through our investments of time and resources. My guest today is the Zach Beach, smart real estate coach. Zach, thank you for joining the call today.
Sam, I'm excited. I mean, when you get to hang out with somebody that's, last name is Sells, I mean, this is going to be, you were born for real estate or something in the line on those lines. So I'm excited to spend some time with you here, Sam.
Heck yeah, man. Definitely. The problem with my last name uh, is that it's a verb, and so I can't reserve it as like, um, samsells.com because it's, somebody selling something.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, but that's okay. Dude,
I
thanks.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. My last name Beach, it's hard to trademark anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No plate, you typically can't get the websites, nothing.
Nothing.
You look up
Yeah.
Zachary Beach, what you always get is Fort Zachary Beach in the Keys. So
Oh, yeah.
that's what I get.
Yeah. No, understand. Those guys with names like a good friend of mine, Satema Gali. I
Yeah.
mean, like easy peasy. Like nobody's going to pick that name
Nope. Trademark that easily.
easily. And he did. Yes. SatemaGali.com. All right. Free bonus there for Satema. Zach, so you're the CEO of Smart Real Estate Coach, a 3 times Inc. 5000 fastest growing company focusing on transforming W-2 employees into creative financing real estate investors. So talk to us about what in the heck is creative financing?
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you asked. So creative financing, I know a lot of people are hearing that word nowadays. I would say it's probably one of the most prevalent times when it comes to talking about creative financing because of interest rates and all of that as
Yeah.
well. So what creative financing really means when we break it down is that we don't go to banks, we don't personally sign on debt, and we don't put down large down payments. So what we really do is we utilize terms or creative financing strategies such as lease options, subject to deals, where you buy a property subject to the existing loan, or you do owner financing where the seller becomes your bank. So just think of everything that's not traditional real estate is really creative financing.
Yeah, so this is like how I entered into commercial real estate was through creative financing. My first deal was owner finance. My second deal was a master lease or lease option. So took it for a year and then, you know, made 100% return on our investment that first year, 110% return on our investment. Mobile home parks are fantastic, by the way. And
Sure.
then, bought the project and we still have it now.
Oh, wow.
It, and we've done it, we've used creative financing multitude of times for different projects.
No, I love it. I see. I've created this quasi partnership with these two people because I like to stay in my lane, which is I've been doing creative financing for over 10 years, so I can kind of do it in my sleep. And then I started working with these other gentlemen who are interested in buying multi-families, and they do it the traditional route. So what we've kind of done here as a side project is they make offers traditionally, I make offers creatively, and we see which one kind of wins. It's in order to go acquire more doors. So that's a cool opportunity that's coming about because at the end of the day, especially in today's world, a lot of and I'm sure you're seeing this, a lot of the commercial real estate, is either overpriced or sellers have unrealistic expectations. So the only way you can actually make a lot of these numbers work, especially if you're going to go raise capital, is if you're buying it below what their expectation is, or you utilize creative financing because then you don't have to raise as much capital, which means you can eventually make those, cash on cash returns match or
Yeah.
exceed. Plus, you don't have to go, raises, or you don't have to go to banks and go through that entire process. You can actually make it a lot quicker of a close.
It's super prevalent right now. And it's interesting when we were getting into this in 2018 and 19, we were using it back then, and it was popular. And then in 2020, COVID, but at the end of 2020, when rates were, you can go buy a $20 million complex on 3.5% debt and close in 40 days. There was like no point to do creative financing because you're like, I get 3.5% debt, right? And they're going to fund all my construction. So let's go, and all of a sudden we're back to the creative financing world again. So have you personally seen an uptick in sellers being willing to accept creative financing options?
Yeah, great question. I would say the answer is yes, because they're openly advertising it more than they have ever openly advertised it. Before, you used to have to actually get on the phone with somebody to find out if they're open to seller financing because they would keep it close to cuff. And
Yeah,
then if you didn't have it and you asked them, they would say, oh, well, maybe I'm open to it. Now they're openly promoting like seller with good down payment will do seller financing.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I would say it's very prevalent nowadays, and is a huge opportunity for people that were just like you and I that were trying to get involved in real estate. It's a great way to step into it, because I know we're talking commercial here, but a good portion of the deals I did were single family properties. And when I first joined, or when I first really started investing in real estate and lock arms with my business partner Chris, he I didn't have any capital or good credit available to acquire these pieces of real estate, so we were utilizing all these creative financing techniques in order to get into these deals. So at first it was a need, and now it's a choice. And now as I look at acquiring more multis and things like in commercial, in today's market, it just that skill set now is just amplified because more people need it or want it.
yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. So what do you see right now as being um, the pitch that wins the most hearts? So what do you I don't want to take your secrets, but tell us a
Yeah,
secret.
sure.
What's working?
Yeah, what's working? I believe a multiple option strategy works very well. It's always worked well for us, whether it's singles or multis, because I think what it does is, what I mean by multiple option strategy is, okay, if you're an investor right now, and let's just, because we're talking, on this podcast, we'll stick in this example as a commercial, right? Um, if you're communicating with somebody that's interested in selling, say, a multifamily or a building, you can offer them, especially if you don't mind going to banks, which it's not that I mind them, I would love to avoid them. You can offer them a traditional sale type strategy. You could be like, okay, but if I'm going to go buy the property with bank rates, or I need to go raise private capital with bank rates, then the only way that I can actually go to investors to help me buy this property is if this price meets that number, so everyone can win. So you can make that offer, and then at the same time you could say, and if you would rather get your price or closer to your price because I don't have to raise as much money, here's how we can do this strategy now, which would be, say, seller financing. And then what that then does, and then you can always add one more, right? I know there's a lot of psychology around having three offers, because then it becomes not like yes or no, but which one. So then you could throw another one in there as well, and then walk them through the different strategies, and then you get to allow the seller to pick, because at the end of the day, you and I both know, real estate's a people business. It's about
Yep.
solving problems.
Yep.
And then once you solve the problem, then you structure the deal. But nobody ever accepts the deal if you didn't solve their problem.
Right.
So I always do my best to really understand the problem first, then throw an offer out. I'm not a huge fan of just like sending out offers after offers after offers. I'm sure a lot of people win in that way. But I've just always been taught that you really understand the problem. So that way, every person that you're having a much longer conversation with, you're more likely to close, even though you may not have been able to send off, you only can send off a fourth of the offers, but it's more likely you're going to close on those offers. So that's always been my strategy, and has been, for many years now.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I've talked to a lot of people about this same topic in the past too, because they say, "Oh, can you really buy an apartment complex with no money down?" And the answer is yes, but you don't want to most of the time.
Mm.
because for you to get a sweet deal like that, you're giving up a lot. And there's probably something there that, you know, something's fishy.
Yeah. Especially in the bigger ones. I mean, I've purchased 4 and 6 units before with no money down, 0% interest rate. Um, a lot of those two have been either retirement or inheritance.
Mhm.
Um, for those reasons. So they weren't really investors. They had an asset that they probably didn't understand how to manage, or they got overworked by being the personal manager of that asset. Um, so in the smaller units, I would always say, yeah, those no money down deals still can be very lucrative because is just bringing in a good management, like a good property manager, and really understanding turnover and raising rents can obviously increase the a price of a property rather quickly in a short period of time, like within 2 or 3 years. But if you're talking like those bigger buildings and the more, we all know the reason people are selling are usually because the buildings are getting worn out, especially in like the C class. So
Yeah.
you got to know you're going to be prepped and prepared. You're going to run into some challenges, so you probably don't want to be in there at 100% loan to value um, at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all just depends on the property and the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. But it all comes down to what you said before. It was understanding the need first. And once you understand the need, then you can provide the answer. But there's no sense in throwing the wrong answer at somebody if you don't know what the need is.
Yeah,
But
unless you're intentionally looking for like a counter or feedback. I know I've seen that technique used a lot. It's not that something that I typically would use, but I know a lot of people that would be like, so I'm buying properties typically at so I'm buying 3 units in this area at roughly this price. So doesn't matter what the asking prices, they're going to throw out that price in order to get feedback and for them to say, oh, are these people actually willing to pay blah? Okay, now I'll go visit the property. Now I'll do my inspection. Versus going to do all the front end work to know that you're not close on price. So that'd be the only time I would utilize that technique.
so let's shift gears just for a second. You wrote 3 books.
Yeah, well, I co-authored them. Co-authored 3 books for two of my. I'm not gonna take all the credit.
Tell me or tell us a little bit about those books.
Sure. Yeah. So the first book, our first Amazon bestselling book called "Real Estate on Your Terms," is really diving into creative financing. So all the different techniques that we use: sub-twos, owner financing, lease options, signing deals. Those are all in there. Plus, along with our stories, me and my partner's stories. That way, a lot of people get to know us through that, and our background of bartender and personal trainer to real estate investor, or my father-in-law who got crushed in 2008 and need to revamp his business from doing, raise the roof projects and condo conversions and raising and doing all the fix and flips because he got caught with his pants down, obviously, in 2008.
Mhm.
And that's really when I joined him, was a year into his new creative financing business. And then we kind of grew that together along with my brother-in-law. So we talk about that. And then that's been updated a couple times after COVID. We wanted to make sure that it was relevant again. If anybody's ever written a book, they know that that's an absolute pain in the butt to redo it again, revise it.
Yeah.
And then we did another one on new rules of real estate investing, which is where we took a lot of these types of conversations and we interviewed and took a lot of our podcast recordings in order to really share the minds of all different real estate investors and how that works. And then we had we wrote comments on the interviews, that way we could talk about more of the insight to those different dynamics. Because really what we want to do is, okay, so the first one's all about understanding creative financing. The second one's all about understanding real estate to make sure that you're in the right, the right seat to go ahead and grow your business. As you and I both know, Sam, it's
Yeah.
not easy to be a real estate investor. So you got to be passionate about the niche that you're in, or it's going to absolutely crush you. So we wanted to do that. And then the last one was all about selling with authority, or really helping our current members of our community understand the different dynamics that go in when it comes to being an authority in your marketplace. So really knowing like how to be in your network, how to be the one that they're always going to, how to be a part of the real estate ecosystem to make sure that deals are flowing through you and around you, and you're not always searching for them. So that was another way that we really incorporated or equipped, our members of our community. And of course, people bought it. I mean, that was Amazon bestseller in marketing, which I never thought that was going to happen. But really, at the end of the day, it was just really showing people additional ways in order to really scale their authority in their real estate business. And thanks for sharing the books. This is good.
Yeah, I'm about to almost knocked over half the books on my bookshelf there.
I love Sam.
So yeah, so I got, real estate on your terms here. And also got this other one which you didn't mention. So I'm just gonna bring that up here. Deal structure overtime.
Yep. Yeah. So that book was that was an awesome book. We had a lot of fun doing that, but we didn't try for Amazon bestseller. We really just created that book so that way people could see inside our real estate deals. So it's actually interviews and deal structures with some of our members of our community of the deals we've done with them. So that way we can break it down, the good, the bad, the ugly. I mean, we've had our YouTube channel. If you go to smartrealestatecoach.com/YouTube, we have almost 400 deal structure Sundays. So every Sunday we release a deal structure video of our deal, someone else's deal, lessons from deals. We've been doing that for, I don't know, 5 years now, 4 years now. So what we want to constantly share with people is the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to these deals. So that way, when they're presented with the good things or the challenges in their real estate deals, they know they're not alone, number one. But number two is how to actually pivot in those deals to still make them profitable. So that was just another, component, another tool for people to continue to work down that path of creative financing.
So why do people sometimes have to pivot?
Yeah, the deal within the deal. I think it's honestly probably one of my favorite parts of real estate investing, because you're not like the deal that you create at the beginning is more than likely not going to be the deal that ends up happening at the end, for good, bad, or different. Yeah. But being a good real estate investor is about, maneuvering or what we call wealth stacking your portfolio, which is like when you have a certain amount of deals, and we have what we call our trademark 3 payday system. So all deals that we do when we sell on rent to own, we get paid now, monthly, and back end when the deal cashes out. So what we then do is we look at the deals as they're going through their life cycle, and we'd be like, oh, this seller's owed $30,000 in 3 years. How do we get him down to only want 10 right now? And maybe we have a deal coming in, we do that, and now we have a long-term deal. So we move it from a lease option where I only control it to a subject to deal where I never have to cash it out ever again. Yeah. And we do that by maneuvering the deal because people's lives change too over time. So when you're structuring 3, 5, 10-year deals, at some point in time, their life's going to change, and you may be able to get a better deal because their life has changed. So always get into the deal the best you can, and then maneuver the deal as it evolves, which could be really good over time as well. Or like, let's use negative as well. Negatives that we try to turn to positive, which are when we sell on rent to own, we sell to buyers that need time in order to qualify for loans. It's roughly 82% of the market out there can't walk into a bank and get a loan. They just need time. But just like everybody else, there are defaults. There's a default rate. If you're just doing rentals, it's an eviction rate. But this is the default rate for us. And it's usually 1 to 2 people out of 10, so like 20%. And when they default, although the non-refundable deposit, is non-refundable, we have that. We still have to work through either an eviction or getting somebody out of the property. So what does that allow us to do? It could be very negative. You have to hold, you have to carry the carrying costs, sure. But you also now have an opportunity to go to the seller and say, hey, our deal, here's what's happening on this deal. Unfortunately, we're having a challenge in eviction. Hey, would you be open to restructuring the deal? So now I get more time. Because what you're then going to most likely do is you're going to go back to the market and place another tenant buyer on the property, which means that now you not only have the cash that you originally collected, but you have more cash coming in now as a lump sum. So now you have some more resources that you can now maneuver the deal again. So lots of reason. Anytime there's a time that you can renegotiate the deal. You go back and renegotiate. One of the deals that we did was a 48-month, no money down, 0% interest owner financing deal. It was like $1,000 principal only payment. Every year, we went to the seller and we said to him right around Christmas time, hey, if I give you $6,000 this year, would you extend the term of our balloon another year? We knew that we were going to basically net about $12,000 a year every time we owned it between principal pay down, cash flow on the property. So we were willing to give up 6 in order to get another 6 and another 12 months. And we did that 2 years in a row. And then we pivoted one last time and we said to them, hey, would you guys be open for a longer term deal if we gave you some interest? They actually went to their accountant. The accountant loved it. We gave them 4% interest and we turned it from a 4-year deal to a 21-year deal.
No,
So a 15-year extension. So then that deal, we bought that house for like $180,000. That deal would we ended up cashing it out early, but if we held on to it, that deal would have been worth twice as much as we bought for it. So it's just always that is knowing how to maneuver those deals.
that's fantastic. If you, I'm not sure if you've ever invested in a mobile home park, but if you have a mobile home park, you can do that same thing with like 50 homes or 60 homes because you're doing rent to owns. You're negotiating with people who a lot of times they don't have any money to put down, or they have just a little bit of money to put down. And so when we do this with our mobile home parks, like, okay, well, if you can't put money down, then we're going to increase rent a little, not rent, but the lease payments a little bit to offset, that. And that's a doable thing that enables them to get into a place that they can call their own and eventually have some kind of home ownership. But it's just that willingness to be flexible and look at it. And I love that you're going back to the owner and saying, hey, like if I give you a little bit of this, can I get a little bit of that? And people are usually really flexible, right? They're willing to work with you, particularly if you're a paying client.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Is you go and you build trust, and then once you have trust, like if you don't have a long track record or credibility, or you're not very well positioned in your communication with a seller, it's hard. It's harder. I shouldn't say it's hard. It's harder to get like say sub 2 deals, or owner financing with little to no money down.
Yeah.
So what we always recommend is go get a lease option then. Go get control of the property, make your payments on time. You're still getting that non-refundable deposit because you're going to go sell it on another rent to own. Then once you built rapport with the seller and you made payments for 12 months in a row, now go back and say, hey, why don't we just get you off title so that you no longer have to be responsible for this property? Then they're like, okay, it makes more sense to me. I know, like, and trust you. Now we can make that transition.
It's fantastic. So you teach people these tricks, right?
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about Smart Real Estate Coach.
Yeah, so we develop a community of people that we lock arms with and do real estate transactions with, all creative. Because what we've always found is that the normal quote unquote coaching programs, you have the ability to show up on a phone call, ask them questions, but then you have to go implement everything. And of course, in the meantime, while you're waiting for that other call, you're then going to go back to what you call your reality, which you're not surrounded by real estate investors. You're not surrounded by those people that are interested in, you winning or help you grow personally, professionally, from a mindset, skill set, and system. So we created this community that we buy and sell real estate deals with, and allows our coaches to get on the phones and to close deals and restructure the deals and help you along the entire process. And we split deals for those that we help in the community, and really just help people transform, especially those that are dedicated to investors. And we really help them along the way with those 3 items, which is the mindset, skill set, and systems, to ensure that they have a much more high likelihood of finding success in real estate investing. So I was in a mastermind. It's very well known. There's tons of people in it that, all the people you probably see on YouTube, Facebook, podcast, like all that. And they said there's roughly 5% of coaching clients, like in most coaching programs, find success, which is absolutely insane. So we wanted to fully immerse somebody to ensure that they find success. And that's what we've done at Smart Real Estate Coach.
That's fantastic. Exactly what we do for our commercial students too, because of that same reason. Like I had joined masterminds and other groups, and when I came for help, it was like, well, I've never done that before. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the coach here and you've never done this before? Like I thought you okay, I shouldn't have listened to your marketing. Or like,
Good marketer though.
yeah, good. You're a great salesperson because you sold me something that you did not know how to do. So um and at the end of the day, it's like I need help in this thing. Can you take the time to come look at it with me? And the answer is always no, or almost always no, or that's extra. And so it's like you need people who can partner. And when you do that, you're, you know, when you're like for you, when you guys partner and help people and they see how you do things in real time, in live action, their learning outcomes are so much better.
Yeah. I mean, you can get paid and learn at the same time, which is, usually there's your learning years and your earning years. And when you can create, an environment where somebody else that has the experience can actually help you create income before
Yeah.
you learn, it's an environment unlike any other. And that's awesome that you guys have set that up as well. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just we built this out of the dislike for all the other programs that we had tried. I'm like, well, we're going to do something completely different. And we've done dozens of commercial real estate transactions and a whole lot more single family transactions than that. I don't even know how many, but a bunch. And it's just, you know, you learn over time. The more deals you do, the more you learn. And
Of
yeah.
course. Learn what not to do. Sometimes it's better what not to do versus what to do. Like I always tell people, it's better to know what type of deal you're not going to buy and types of sellers you don't want to work with than it is to know the ones you do want to work with. So, oh yeah, lots and lots and lots and lessons learned, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of lessons learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. So great. That's why you have gray hair and you're only 25. I'm the same age and have gray hair, but
I wish I was 25. But yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate it.
learning all these lessons, which is good. Somebody's got to go out there and learn it.
Sir, absolutely.
So what's next? What's next for you, Zach?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I mean, our main focus is to continue to, affect more and more people's lives. I mean, we started our mission last year, um, being known as the community that transforms dedicated people into wicked smart real estate investors. And really just to continue, what's next is really just to continue to up level our support. And as the times continue to change, to continue to constantly innovate and improve and bring people to the forefront. Me personally, I certainly would like to do more multifamilies and commercials as well, and that way I could continue to set the pace for our students, because as they do more and more single families and sell and rent to own, I know there's definitely a good group of people that eventually want to create an additional income stream with long-term buy and hold. So I want to continue to share with people how to do that as I buy them all creative and set that pace so that way everyone else can as well.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect timing. Um, Now is the time to get creative deals done because
Mm.
a lot of these folks are hurting. I know a lot of syndicators who are way upside down. They bought at the height of the market. They thought rents were going to go up by 40% every year. And it turns out that didn't happen, which is kind of weird, I guess.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That's not weird at all. That's what was going to happen. But yeah. So now they're in a
Interesting enough,
pickle or
Sam.
in a jam. Yeah.
I was interesting enough, Sam. I was actually hanging out with, I was speaking at Major League Soccer, like teaching some of the ex soccer players and some of the current ones how to buy and sell real estate. And we had some major private equity companies there speaking as well. And a couple of them mentioned, number one, they have no idea what the subject to deal was, which was interesting.
Well,
But so know if you know that, then you know a lot more than a lot of these large private equity companies. But also, number two is a lot of them were underwater. I was speaking with a commercial lender who provides a large portion of these private equities, and they said over $100 billion in loans are upside down right now.
yeah.
So huge
2.2
opportunity.
trillion over the next 4 years, 2.2 trillion loans come
Yeah.
due and need to be
Yeah.
refinanced. and they're going from being at like 3% to 4% to 6 to 8%.
Uh,
And
Opportunities. Here we go.
opportunity.
Right. Self.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna themselves.
Big time wealth transfer. So the question is like, are you going to be in? Or are you going to look for these opportunities? And somebody like yourself, Zach, who is willing to listen to the owners and figure out what it is they want and then provide them um, a solution or a couple of solutions. You can do this, or we can do this, or we can do that. You're going to be in a great position to really capitalize and help with the wealth transfer.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you are
Yeah.
too as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we're raising a fund right now to go out and help create impact, and take care of these distressed assets. So awesome. So
Love it.
we talk about impact in this pod, and we're coming to a close here, but I just want to commend you and thank you. I know you're having a big impact on a lot of people's lives. One of the biggest things that we struggle with as humans is just believing in ourselves and believing that we can accomplish something. And it's not even about the how, it's just about the what. And the how is easy, right? For you going to do a creative deal, for me doing a deal, it's just like I know all the steps. I've done them over and over and over again. The steps are easy. Here's a 5-step process, right? But it's
Yeah.
not that. It's do you really believe you can go and do this? And so I know through your coaching, through what you guys are doing, you're not only are you teaching people the how, but you're giving them the power and the confidence to actually go out and do it. And you're holding their hands, so to speak, and doing it with them, which is really the best way to teach, is by doing. And so I just want to say thank you for that. I know you guys have had a lot of impact on a lot of lives. So you got a lot of stuff going on.
We certainly do.
Got more books to come.
I don't know. Maybe. Due to it, I mean, at this point, it's podcasts and speaking engagements more than it is books right now. But I'm sure we'll have some more books coming down the line. I'll be fully transparent though. Like we've been revved up and re-geared for buying real estate. Like for during COVID, we sold off a lot of our portfolio. I mean, it was too good not to. Plus, speaking of like making an impact, we sold a lot of properties on rent to own to people because they lock in their price and they were walking into some significant equity. So I was excited about that because that would change a lot of people's lives. But
Yeah.
no, I'm spending if I'm not growing smart real estate coach, I'm spending time in the trenches doing real estate deals right now because there's the next 3 to 5 years. I believe is a massive window, as you're saying as well, especially not only with the banks that lined up, but then you also have the baby boomers that have going on right now that are trying to sell off a lot of their assets. Everyone's retiring. There's this window right now that I just feel really excited about because somebody like myself that has these skill sets, which all your listeners can have, and
Yeah.
then obviously you talk about as well, everyone can have, and if they can execute on these for the next 3 to 5 years, they can set those up for a couple of decades worth of wealth. There's no doubt in my mind. So I am in the trenches, nose down for the next 3 to 5 years, really putting in the work for my 33 to 40. So I don't really have much else when it comes to self promotion. It's just growing these companies and really keep my nose to the grindstone.
Excellent. Awesome, Zach. Well, thank you so much for joining the pod today. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so for listening today, love to make sure that everyone gets our first Amazon bestselling book for free. So if you'd like that, all you got to do is go to wickedsmartbooks.com/money2. So that's wickedsmartbooks.com/money with the number 2. Go ahead and grab that. It's absolutely free. And we'll also give you a bunch of other amazing goodies as well. Plus, if you really liked enjoying this podcast, we do weekly workshops as well, so you can really dive into the trenches, go through case studies. So go ahead and grab that. And then you can find us on all of our social platforms. So you can find it at Smart Real Estate Coach, or if you decide to follow myself as well, and that's at Zachary Beach Official.
Awesome. Official, not the beach.
No.
Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate the call, man. Thanks for all the work that you do. And Until next time.
Yeah, thanks, my man.
Thank you for tuning in to Clean Money, where we talk about sustainable investing that improves society. We are passionate about creating great investment returns to investors who want to use their money to make a positive social impact in the world. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd appreciate a 5-star review. And if you are interested in making your investing matter, please connect with us at wildmountaincapital.com, or you can find me, Samuel Sells, on LinkedIn, on Twitter at Sells_Samuel, on Instagram at Clean Money Sam, or on Facebook. And finally, make your investing matter.